Welcome back, Thurfers. Ooh, do I have a good one today? We're going to be talking about one of man's biggest issues, lust. And just so I can stroke the YouTube algorithm, I'm going to keep it PG for the first minute or so. Let's be real, guys. Men, women, you know you struggle or have struggled with it. We know it's a temptation, and acting on it is the problem. It's totally normal to feel temptation. Like, the temptation itself isn't the problem. The temptation isn't the sin. It's when you're like, well, dang, yep, time to go goon, and that's the problem. So let's get into it. You'll be bored, and you start scrolling Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat, and that one baddie pops up, and you're like, damn! And it's like a switch is flipped, where the brain upstairs stops working and the one downstairs starts working. I struggled with this for a long time, basically since puberty. I mean, as a guy, I'm hardwired to want anything with curves. And there are some stellar memes about this, and I'm sure many of you have seen some of them and absolutely related. And I'm sure women deal with lust as well. I mean, let's realize that lust doesn't discriminate, it can come for anyone. Things like 50 Shades of Grey and the back part of the Spencer store in the mall. Yeah, so it's not just a guy thing. So, what's the problem with lust? Well, as Christians, it's not as straightforward as most of us thought. Most Christians think just don't have intimate bedroom time before marriage and that's it. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but it's more than that. I've known Christians that thought self pleasure was fine. Well, it's not. And before I get into the specifics, because there are specifics, we need to look at the theme of this video and the undertone for it, which is flesh versus spirit. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. That's Matthew 26:41. I bring this up because it's good to keep this in mind when we talk about this topic, because we need to recognize the difference between flesh and spirit. The flesh is our sinful, selfish human desire. Think things of the world, essentially, not of God. The spirit is our connection and willingness to follow God. We need to know that those clash all the time. Okay, so with that in mind, let's dive into some specifics. Matthew 5:27-28. Jesus says, "You have heard that it was said, 'You shall not commit adultery.' But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart." The first part of this verse is referencing the seventh commandment from the Ten Commandments. He then says, if you look lustfully at a woman, that you're breaking this commandment. That's heavy, because even just looking and thinking about having relations lustfully is equal to actually doing it. Guess what this means? When you're scrolling and those Instagram and TikTok thoughts that make your upstairs brain turn off and the downstairs one turn on, and you give in to that thought, you've broken the seventh commandment in your heart. It's interesting because it doesn't even require the physical action of self-pleasure. It's the mental self-pleasure of thinking about it. And they're both sins. And that goes for thinking of other people while having intimate time with someone else, with your spouse. I mean, the Bible speaks a lot about not falling for seductive temptations of what we would call nowadays as baddies or thoughts. I mean, the book of Proverbs has nearly 3 whole sections on this topic alone. Proverbs 5, 6, and 7. It's about a page and a half, and I really encourage you to read it. I was shocked. Like, dang, God nailed this, because this is so eerily applicable to today. Like most things in the Bible, obviously. One that stuck out to me in Proverbs was Proverbs 6:25. Lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. Guys, wake up. Don't let her take you. Don't let her take you with her eyes and her beauty. It's captivating for a reason, and you need to snap out of it. Okay, so why is it bad? 1 Corinthians 6:18. Flee from sexual immorality. Every other sin a person commits is outside the body, but the sexually immoral person sins against his own body. This sin is against yourself. We know that our body is the dwelling place or temple of the Holy Spirit, and sexual immorality is the intentional destruction of that temple. Essentially, whenever we don't turn our downstairs brain off and shut down temptation, we choose to separate ourselves from God. And that's free will. Now, let's get to self-pleasure specifically. A lot of people will say that since the Bible doesn't specifically mention self-pleasure or condemn it, then it's fine. And, I used to think that too. But here's why that's not true. Modern society has specifically separated self-pleasure and intimacy between a husband and wife into two different categories. And they shouldn't. You see, self-pleasure is a sexual act, and God designed sexual acts to be between a husband and wife. Sex isn't a need or desire. It was intended for man and woman to become one flesh. And newsflash, self-pleasure is giving into lust and selfish desire of the flesh. The Bible and Jesus warned us about both. So just because the Bible doesn't explicitly state that self-pleasure is a sin doesn't mean it isn't. Like, it's not rocket science, guys. If lust and desire of the flesh are sinful, 2 plus 2, then self-pleasure is bad. Furthermore, in this battle of flesh and spirit, we look at Galatians 5:22-24. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. And they that are Christians have crucified the flesh with the affections of lust. Essentially, giving into lustful temptation, either by adultery or self-pleasure, you lack the temperance or self-control in your heart and your spirit. Guys, crucify the flesh. It literally says that. Stop giving into it. Okay. So I think we've discussed the how and the why lust is bad. So how do we defeat it? Well, many of us know about a certain trend called No Nut November. It was popular when I was in school for sure, and was a pretty fun trend. But some of the tactics used to, let's say, accomplish the mission was to delete social media and try to stay busy. You see, removing those temptations is the first step. Stop following those Instagram thoughts, and better yet, delete social media if you can. I did a few years ago, delete social media, and I can't tell you how much peace I've felt. On a slight tangent here, removing social media has had an incredibly impactful, positive effect on my life. I have more peace. I don't feel caught up in drama. I don't have as big of an ego. And I stopped measuring what I have versus others. I mean, it's great. Get rid of it if you can. So, anyways, back to topic. So, removing temptation is step one, and it's actually biblically accurate. We saw it in 1 Corinthians 6:18 earlier in the video, where Peter explicitly states that we should flee from sexual immorality. You see a baddie? Run away, okay? But seriously, remove temptation to the best of your ability. Secondly, stop being bored. Idle hands are the devil's playground, guys. When you're bored and have nothing better to do, you get the urge to goon, all right? So get a hobby, clean your room, do something helpful for a family member, and here's a crazy idea. Read the Bible. Ask God to help you fight the temptation. And it's important to note the severity of this temptation. Peter says to flee temptation. He doesn't say try to fight it or stand your ground. He doesn't say look that thought in the face and resist her seduction. No, bro says bounce, get the heck out of there. And I think it's because of how strong of a demonic force it is. So take it seriously. Because when we choose temptation, and I mean choose, not give in, because it's more than, oh, well, I guess I could go grab the lotion and tissue box. It's choosing to be apart from God. It's choosing lust and flesh over him. Something else that helps is to tell your friends you're trying to stop jerking it. As Christians, we should already be surrounding ourselves with other Christians, and guess what? They have the same problems as you. Telling each other helps you hold each other accountable and find ways to further succeed. My friends and I have done this, and it's been extremely beneficial. I know it seems weird, but it really isn't. And it's so much easier in today's society to do so. And not that I fully condone the whole red pill, Andrew Tate, manosphere, but that community is right. They're pretty right, spot on about jerking off being bad. Maybe for the wrong reason, but at least it's culturally acceptable to not jerk it. And when you tell your friends, they're going to be like, yeah, that makes sense. Um, and from the semen retention thing they do, they kind of onto something in the form of self-control, but I'm not sure about all the other benefits besides the testosterone cycle and stuff. So and for example, how to help your friends. An example of this that your friends can and should help is don't go out partying, getting drunk, and making bad decisions. Don't put yourself in these situations where you're going to fall into these. Drunkenness is a sin, by the way, because it makes your spirit control weaker. Okay, rapid fire review. Sorry, I know this has been a longer video, but thank you for being patient and sticking with me today. Lust is after you. You need to run from it and not put yourself in situations you can choose to act on it. Build a plan of temptation reduction and stay busy. Pray for help. Ask your friends for help. And not saying I'm the authority on this topic or whatever. So if you guys have other helpful ideas, please leave them in the comments. I'm certainly eager to read those, and just let me know what you guys think in general. And remember, Jesus really does love you, and no one's unredeemable. May the peace of the Lord be with you always, and I'll see you in the next video.